So, hi all, good morning. So, thank you for your time. This is inaugural event for WWT Bangalore chapter, which is aligned with global WWT chapter, and that's a growing community for women testers, which is encouraged by the TechWell Corp. So, I'm Shruti, the chapter leader for Women Who Test, and today I'll be the host. So, our motive behind initiating this chapter was to provide a platform for women professionals in our country to learn, share, and to grow in the domain of QA. So, the plan is that we will be, providing an opportunity and address the questions and share materials for women testers so that they can thrive in their professional lives. So, and coming for the session today, since we are aware of the situation what we have now, so we thought why can't this situation be taken, and why can't we address the concerns from the testing career? How will that impact our career? What are the necessary actions that has to be taken to grow in our career? So this was our thought, and that is what motivated us to start this session on. So as you all know, the session for the topic for today is how testing professionals can excel in the new world. So, and for the attendees, there are there are a few concerns, or there are a few key points which I'll be stating. So first point is attendees will all be in mute, so you'll not be able to talk anything. And in case if you have any questions, you have a question QA and chat available there, so you can ping your questions, and all your questions will be answered by end of the session. And in between, to keep the session interactive, we have some of the poll questions available, which I'll be launching, and a minute will be available for you all to answer the poll questions. So kindly participate in that, so that the speaker will get to know what your thoughts on or regarding the topics which he'll be talking about. So, and that is the keynote for the speaker, this audience, and coming to the speaker for the day, we have Dr. Renu Rajani, who has over 3 decades of experience in the QAT, and she is the author of 2 popular books in software testing. She is here to encourage us and keep us motivated. So, welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, without any delay, I'll hand over to Dr. Renu for the session.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. So I'm going to talk about testing professions in the new world. I have been well aware of Women Who Code chapter, and had been a keynote in that a couple of years back, but it is nice to see that WWT is launching. Congratulations to the entire team. So let me, without further ado, let me begin the session. COVID-19 has exposed the human race to very unprecedented times. The countries and industries are dealing with the impact and charting out strategies on what lies ahead. Primary goal of testing, as you know, is risk reduction and handle the uncertainty. And there can't be a more uncertain time than these. With the world exposed to extreme uncertainty and external risks, there is very, very little appetite for internal risks and the risks which are controllable, like the risks with IT products and applications. Testing profession has seen very adaptive and flexible professionals over the decades, and we have seen the professional adopt to various different cycles that we have seen in testing profession, from life cycle testing to independent testing, from co-located testing to remote testing, testing in waterfall versus testing parallelly as a part of life cycle in a V model, testing black box versus now testing in agile sprints, introducing behavior-driven and test-driven development. And increased digital penetration has now resulted in increased focus on risk and compliance and cybersecurity as well. While those who have started practicing Agile and DevOps, a part of the community started preaching that there are no separate testing roles, but the reality is opposite. The projects which do not have enough QA or focused testers in the team have poor quality outcomes. So focus on testing can't go away. While there have been predictions of reduced IT budgets post-pandemic, the reality is that due to reduced appetite for tests for risks, the digital IT initiatives would undergo more robust quality assurance. So increased spend in digital initiatives would have increased need for testing digital engagements, while IT professionals have been experienced in working remotely, but now pandemic has added the dimension of social distancing, physical distancing, and strengthened the case for remote working. Earlier, saying of out of sight, out of mind doesn't apply. People are pretty well connected in the remote work virtually, and testers would basically independent testing will see a comeback in this changed world. Testers would unleash a new way of working in this world in which, on one hand, the countries have distanced from each other, but on the other hand, the countries have come together virtually to handle the pandemic. So let's discuss what are the testing skills needed in testing profession to excel in this new world. So, Shruti, so in this session, we'll first run the poll. Shruti, if you can keep the poll up.
Yes, but I'll be running the first poll so that the questions appears on your screen, so you can answer the questions according to your thoughts. So we'll be having a minute time for this, so you can take your time and you can answer the questions. So here the poll goes. Okay, so let me close the poll. But I still see people are voting, so let me just give a couple of seconds more. Okay, so here is the total percentage of vote. We have 78% voted. In that, 77% of people think that it is increase and 23% are not sure.
Okay, so nobody thinks it will decrease. That's a good news. Thanks everyone. So let's move on. So today I'll be discussing software testing marketplace. What are the learnings from pandemic and how we can relate the COVID testing to the software testing? What are the key technology initiatives the companies are taking and what are the testing considerations? Testing careers and skills required, and remote working and distributed agile, and we'll take questions. So you just answered a question. The need for testing in the post-COVID world will go up or down, etc. Right? And this is a survey done recently by Technavio. And as per this report, so there are two predictions. One is about the pure play software testing marketplace. Pure play means the companies like TCS, HCL, Wipro, Infosys, and others, the pure play software development companies. And otherwise, if you look at the entire software testing landscape, it includes somebody is having disturbance in the backyard. And if we look at overall testing marketplace, it includes software testing products, and also product testing and many other things. So if you look at pure testing, the prediction is that from current $8 billion US dollar testing market to it will grow to 14 billion by 2024, and it is basically about 15% per annum growth rate. And of this, the 41% of the growth means we are talking about 6 billion addition to the number, the size of the pure play testing. And out of this 6 billion increase, the 41% will come from the North America. And overall size of the software testing market will grow from the current $40 billion to $70 billion by 2024. So, we are seeing very unprecedented times, but software testing is a profession which is evergreen, and we will discuss what are the changes we need to adopt to thrive in this marketplace. So I will basically talk about some of the latest things we have seen with COVID, right? And what kind of testing happened in COVID. The two are very, very different, subject matters. And the test COVID-19 versus software, the two are very, very different subject matters, but I want to draw some parallels. What we have learned in test COVID-19 is that testing is important for the quality of public health. And if you trace it back to our software testing profession, testing is important for quality of software. From point of view of outcome, there is a critical role of early detection. And in COVID-19, we have seen that reducing the number of infections and fatalities is a main outcome goal. And if you look at it from testing, software testing perspective, reducing the defects in production is the goal. Need for early testing is what we have been preached all the time for in software testing, detect defects early in the life cycle, do V model, test that entire life cycle, etc. So need for early testing. And here in COVID-19, we see test more, test early, predict positive cases is what we have been seeing as the focus. In software testing, we see that need for early testing has taken us to continuous testing, test-driven development, shift left as key process, key methodologies. Speed of delivery is important, and we have seen that there have been a lot of revelations and innovations in testing kits in COVID-19. Look at it from software testing perspective, automating the tests, running the agile tests, early feedback to development have been the key methods we have used and is testing to ensure the speed of delivery. Need for testing process and infrastructure, we basically realized that in COVID-19, continuously people are being told maintain social distance, yet there are queues for getting tested, queues for everything, right, because of the limited infrastructure. So continuously the effort is going on to increase the infrastructure. And in testing, if you look at how good the test is, depends on the availability of good test data, readiness of test environments, and to the extent of ability to virtualize the test environment. So that's kind of parallel to testing. Then look at democratization, close to the subject. My test at the source is what we are being preached. And in COVID-19, you've seen best practice of drive-through testing. Drive-through testing. Just a second. Evolving testing techniques. So you have seen the test techniques like swab and sputum test, testing for antibodies, etc. as the evolving test techniques in COVID. And in software testing, the latest buzzword is about applying AI, ML, and predictive testing. Let's move on. I'll just try to kind of give a shape to what I've been talking and continuing from where I left. In testing, we also realize that it is not possible to test everything. We have to prioritize testing, right? So In fact, in the US, doctors went to the extent of saying if we are very sure somebody would die, there's no need to test them, right? So building immunity and resilience is the name of the game, and using thermometers, monitoring high risk cases, tracing contacts, preaching herd immunity. All these are the ways to basically limit the testing and test only required cases. In software testing, on one hand, we talk about shift left, but of late with DevOps, there is this ask of shift right. Quick testing in production. We said earlier, we used to say that never you have to do tests in production, but here, shift right, do a quick testing in production in cases where the parallel test environment non-production is not available, and building software resilience are the latest concepts. Risk-based testing, here you see that in COVID, we have tested seniors, and in software testing, risk-based testing, there is a concept called MOSCO, means must test, should test, could test, won't test. So basically you bucket your tests such that, you know your top 10, 20% must do, then should do, then could do if you have time. And if there are low priority tests which you don't. And you basically test based on the risk. So here, testing of seniors en masse, because seniors are more prone to getting infected. Then if you look at risk prevention, so testing is also about risk prevention. In COVID world, we have seen isolation, we have seen physical distancing, we have seen use of disinfectants. These are all the ways to risk prevent. And a parallel in software testing, use of isolating tests like mocking the tests, virtualizing the tests, developing fault tolerance using the microservices, and creating software sandboxes to isolate the tests for the for the function for which we are testing. And then the security scanning to actually prevent the test risks. Collaborating to prevent and contain. So here you see collaboration of data sharing. Basically in COVID world, you see Arogya Setu, you see Singapore governments placed together, you see US doing MIT PACT project for testing, for basically data sharing, for preventing and sharing contact tracing information. And in software testing world, we are basically, the evolving concept is about site reliability engineering to develop the reliability of the test. And site reliability engineering is basically a concept propagated by Google, which is a form of DevOps. Then look at need for capacity and contingency planning. Contingency management. So the concept here in COVID has been flatten the curve, means reduce the growth of the disease, and plan for the surge, means you always are basically checking. The government is continuously checking, do we have enough ventilators? Are we prepared for the surge of the disease, etc. And in software testing, to test the load at the peak in holiday seasons and in peak situations, you have the performance, stress, and reliability, scalability testing. So this is like, my reason for doing so is to look, I have basically been IT consulting professional early on, moved into software testing, authored books, and over the years, testing last few years, after seeing peak of the managed testing services deals in independent testing, the more and more work we are seeing relates to DevOps and Agile, and more and more tests and dev teams are working together. I'm not saying there is no need for testing and there are no focus testers, but the way testing is done as part of the sprints and at the end of the life cycle has changed, and so has my profession evolved. So I have basically curiously watched how software testing concepts have been applied in the COVID world. So I tried to draw the parallel. So I hope you found it interesting. Let me move on. And so with this pandemic now, and since we are talking careers, all of you are interested to know whether testing will grow and where it will grow and which kind of clients it will grow. Of course, there is one way of looking at testing is that whether testing is waterfall or if it is part of the life cycle, or testing is agile or it's traditional, etc., etc. We spoke, but testing is for specific industries, specific domains, right? And the whole world is reeling under pressure of handling the pandemic, right? So this picture is uh, about the decline in market capitalization, the market value of the specific industries. So industry index, you can say how it has decreased in certain industries. So you can see minus 45% in commercial aerospace, minus 42% for air and travel, minus 40% for oil and gas. You're all aware that crude oil was selling at negative prices. Look at banks being at minus 30%. And you would wonder why banks will be minus 30%. Banks are not just about keeping your deposit and extending your loans. Banks work with large, small, medium enterprises, and more the companies that collapse, more non-performing assets the banks, gather, and that way, banking industry you can see is at minus 30% of market capitalization. Then you see automotive. So on one hand, the need for automotive, like your need for sitting in Uber car along with others has reduced. You want to kind of create social distance. You want to go either in your own car, right? So or the providers who offer you transport want to offer you with social distance. So all these things have happened as part of the pandemic. So you can see the industries which are facing more pressure. On the other hand, you see, by the way, what this picture shows is that every single industry is impacted. There's no industry which has shown positive jumps. So everybody is struggling, but the ones who are less impacted are consumer services, pharma, healthcare supplies and distribution, retail, personal and office goods, logistics and trading, high tech. So these are the industries which are impacted by about 10 to 15% as negative, right? So basically, those who are less impacted and those who are able to rebound faster determine their ability to succeed. So, what are the organizations doing to handle the pandemic? So, first of all, a resolve, and this is a McKinsey study, right? Resolve and address the immediate challenges. So, what the companies did as they figured out that people are contracting this contagious disease, right? Half an hour or 10 minutes to 30 minutes of exposure to somebody who's infected could cause infection. So they basically, governments have laid the lockdown, etc., and people who have come back to work are practicing social distancing. So resolve was an immediate thing to basically consider the employee health, customer health, public good as a priority above the economy. So resolving the immediate challenges, those who are born on the cloud kind of companies, the tech world, have immediately issued the UPS, the desktops, the laptops, the broadbands to their employees and say, okay, 100% work from home. Companies like TCS were the first in the marketplace who said by another 3 years, there would be 75% work. Even though they have work from home policies, nobody thought of 75% or 100% work from home. But today that is very, very acceptable. Now, next is resilience, address the near-term cash management challenges and other resiliency issues. So while lockdown was the immediate choice and there is no other choice, right? So what happened? The people have come back to work, right, or planning to return to work, and many are kind of short of the cash. So governments have, or banks have rolled out the rescue packages, lower interest loans, etc., for as part of the economic package. As those are the resiliency measures. Then return, they actually plan to return to work, right? So and scale quickly. So this is where I showed you that how far minus the employees your companies have gone. So they have to basically bounce back. And this analysis of McKinsey and many other consulting firms suggests that different companies and different sectors will rebound at they'll take time to rebound. Anywhere from 3 quarters to 3 years is the period expected to rebound despite all the economic packages that you're seeing. Reimagine, once one is able to return back to the normal scale of operations, then they reimagine what is the new normal or new world looks like for them and reinvent. Then reform, keep an eye on how the environment around my industry will change, how regulations, role of government would evolve in the new world. So this is what the organizations are facing today, right? So the 5 stages of coming back to work. So let's run poll 2. So Shruti, over to you.
Yeah, I'm launching the second poll. So as I said, you'll be having a minute time for your answers. So kindly request each one of you to participate. So here goes your second poll question. Okay, so I'll close the polling for this question. So 63% of them have voted for this. In that, 30% thinks it is AI, ML, and RPA. 24% thinks that it is IoT sensors and face recognition, and 27% thinks that it is data science and analytics, and 12% thinks that it is augmented or virtual reality, and 6% are not sure about it.
Excellent. Thank you for the inputs, Shruti, and thanks everyone for polling. So as you can see, the responses is spread over, and it is right that a lot of technologies, all these different technologies, will play increasing role. And this is not new; it was known pre-COVID as well. But the prediction is that the digital transformation, which we thought would speed up in 5 years, will actually happen in next 1 year. All right. So all this is becoming a reality faster. So you can see an example. And in the example that I show you, you will see more and more use of IoT sensors, face recognition, etc. And of course, some of that happens to be technology that you see as in front of you, but behind most of the technologies you see, there is data science analytics going in there, and there is use of AI, ML, RPA going in there. So you will see uh, as you face the world, you will see more use of sensors and face recognition and everything else behind the scene. So let me play a video. How do I? Oh my God. How can I come out of the? Okay.
You have to switch your.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm back to the talk. Shruti, can I start again?
Yes, Renu, you can continue.
Yeah. So as you saw in the video clip, the use of various technologies. Here is a little glimpse from LinkedIn Future of Skills survey, and I thought it is very valuable for you to see what role testing plays in each, and in which areas more testing roles you can expect. So the top 10 professions in as per LinkedIn, and this is not about testing alone. This is about technology professions, and they're talking about compliance, social media marketing, continuous integration, workflow automation, gesture recognition technologies, and then move on. Blockchain, artificial intelligence, RPA, human-centered design, and front-end web development. These are the top 10 professions. So you'll see that future testing roles would provide assurance to new age engagements involving these various technologies. So let me just talk about top five testing top five kind of technologies where and what role testing would play, right? So I basically collated here, and this is kind of a very summary extract from one of my books. What are the top technologies and the role of testing? So you see, the first one is a pervasive technology in predictive analytics. The second trend is about cognitive intelligence, and there I have taken the case of connected autonomous vehicles. The next is multi-channel customer connect and wearable technologies. And then the fourth trend is about disintermediation, means basically the business platforms like Swiggy, Uber, Amazon, etc. And fifth is the robots at workplace. So in each of these, what is the role of testing? So let me talk about the first one, which is about pervasive technologies and pervasive analytics. And here, the three basic components being tested. Business analytics testing is basically about huge amount of information gathered from the environment. So, testing of the business analytics, whether the reports are right, the basically testing of the data, etc. And then thorough testing of the prediction model for extensive coverage of test scenarios. So, we are using the data to predict the future, and prediction is only as good as the prediction model. So testing of the prediction model. Then testing of adopted near field communication, because all this pervasive technologies here, you see, you have internet, you have various platforms, you have chats, you have alerts, and the wallets and all that is their individual is a calendar. So the data is kind of being exchanged through these. So testing of the near field communication, like you are basically running many of these transactions on the there is again a lot of noise, Shruti. Um, then next trend is about the cognitive intelligence, and here I have taken example of connected autonomous vehicles, driverless cars, etc. So during testing of connected autonomous vehicles, two major critical factors are critical. So one is the prediction model itself, another is the response time. So you have to basically test the model well, which basically means model basically determines that what is the next move of the other object on the road, and the performance of the hardware plays an important role. A fraction of second of delay can cause accidents. So the testing of the model, like I said, in the case of pervasive technologies, here the testing of the prediction model and algorithms. And the second is the connectivity testing. Here again, connectivity can cause delays and cause performance issues and response time issues. So connectivity testing in this case is important. And the third trend is about multi-channel customer connect, the wearable technologies. And wearable technologies primarily consist of the sensors and IoTs. And you saw an example of Bangalore Airport, how it is using various sensors and IoT devices in this contactless travel scenario. Then testing of wearable technology will primarily focus on testing of the sensors and the information captured by sensor. And then testing of connectivity and internet protocol is also part of the testing consideration. Let me move on, talk about the fourth and fifth trend. I was talking about disintermediation, the business platforms, and you see that more and more business is happening by direct reach to the customer through these platforms. And in the testing of these platforms like Swiggy or Uber or Amazon, what is important is that testers should know end-to-end business flows and knowledge of business. So that is very important. And in such cases, crowd testing can also be very useful many times. In fact, customer is testing the platform and saying, here is the defect in your particular screen. So and before launching it to any feature to the users in production, the crowd testing can be performed in a particular language, in a different country, or using different web browsers, etc. Changing workplace of future, you can see robotic process automation is becoming very popular. What the RPA is all about, in fact, you see in many of the customer service applications that you go to your bank, go to your insurance provider, whatever online, you see a chatbot which is answering the questions based on all the historical data fed it there. That's one. Another is these days robots are basically deployed for many things. So robots are answering the questions on the call. So there are voice bots as well. Then the robots are actually literally your colleagues, so you can see humanoids. And robots are also determining your work pattern. So there are workforce intelligent products which determine what work you're doing is actually intelligent work versus the repetitive work. And end of day, it will give a report for all these different activities being carried out, that how the work can be better organized and the manual part of the work can be done in an automated way. So those are the places, the key trends where testing has to play a role. Okay. So let me move on. Now let's move to the third poll. We are almost nearing the end of this session. Shruti, over to you for this.
Okay, yeah. So now I'll be launching the third poll. So yeah, here the question goes. It will be available for a minute, so kindly need your response for this. Okay, so thank you for your response. I'll be closing the poll. So, Renu, here is the response. 82% of them voted, and among that, 93% agree to the statement, and 7% are not sure about it.
You said how many percent have voted?
82% is the voted.
Okay.
Okay. In that, 83 are agreeing to the statement.
Okay. Okay. So excellent. So basically, everybody believes that in post-pandemic era, there'll be more and more testing happening in remote and distributed agile mode. So let's briefly talk about it. Oh, what happened? I think the two polls got combined. Let me talk briefly the tips of tips for remote working. Now you can, like I was mentioning in my earlier discussion, that testing professionals have seen various waves of changes, right? Testing was part of the life cycle, then it became independent as a managed service. Basically, yeah. So now I have been practicing more than now almost 2.5 months in a lockdown situation, remote work from home. And while I may be carrying out more of the planning and management and leadership role, but all of you you are in various roles. Some of you may be business analysts, some of you may be automation testers or test managers, etc. And you may have, varied experience in terms of how to, cope with um, this remote situation. And many of you may have been actually looking forward to doing remote role, but there was lesser opportunity for it. So today the world has changed. And technology has made it possible for distributed agile to be possible. So no longer the customer would say that it is an agile team, so I want co-location, because nobody's co-located, right? Even developers are not co-located. If the work can happen remotely, why testers have to sit next to developers? So that way, remote working is possible, distributed agile is possible, and you rightly said 93% people believe that work can happen in remote and distributed agile. But however, I have found on one hand, I find better productivity when I work remote, but often I feel bored. Often I feel exhausted. Often I feel I haven't taken break and I deserve a break. Let me do a little workout or let me walk, let me cycle, there is less opportunity to see friends and it can become exhausting. And there have been periods when none of us had any helpers available. So you work for home, you work from home. So it has been difficult. So those of you who find it very convenient, even in the future world, to operate more remotely and carry out, and remotely doesn't just mean working from home. Remote could mean not being next to the developers, etc. Right? So, but there is more and more likelihood of remote working. In remote working scenario, you need to ensure that the work that you do is in secure access. So all the organizational protocols are followed. The next is use if communication applications effectively. Like all these sessions are happening remotely, right? You can do your communication with developers, with testers, your team members, managers, etc. Using more applications, productivity tools like Slack, Jira, etc. and Microsoft Teams. Then avoid distraction to ensure productivity. Often we feel that work from home, everything is mixed up. You try to kind of separate out work and break from work, and that way, whatever time you stay at your desk, it remains more productive. Keep track of sprints while with a robust process. Basically, everybody is practicing agile these days. Even sales teams are doing agile. So point I'm making is that use technology and use good communication to keep track of the work progress. Take short breaks, stay positive, and focus on ongoing learning and acquiring new skills. So let me end it with the last poll. In your remote work during lockdown, what has it meant for you? Should be over to you for the poll.
Okay, so I'll be launching the last poll. So kindly need your participation in this. And here goes the poll. Okay, so I'll be closing the poll now. So in total, we have 83% of them voted for this question, and we have a distributed answer for this. In that, 31% of them feel that they are they meant better work-life balance is what 31% people think, and 10% think it is of higher productivity. 28% think that acquiring additional skills, and 26% think overall overwork and it is a boredom for them, and 5% people are not sure about it.
Well, thank you, Shruti. I think I also, like in my few statements before this poll, I was narrating my own word, right? Of course, I acquired few additional skills. Also, I could think of another book. I certainly have gone in detail of workforce intelligence and robotics. Better work life, yes. The daughter came from her college and it's been shut down for her, so it's good quality time. higher productivity, yes, I mean, you feel you're saving time from commute, but at the same time, sometime you have more time at hand, it's wasted also. So you can see very clearly 10% people only believe it's a higher productivity. Many may feel it is, but it's nice and revealing to see that 20% plus people, 28% almost, said that acquiring additional skills. So which means they have been able to put the time to good use. So that's nice to see. Let me just conclude the discussion and we can take few questions. So finally, to conclude, what are the testing priorities in post-COVID world? In post-COVID world, I'm just summarizing what all trends will happen and how you can kind of keep prepared for it. Post-COVID world will see acceleration in shift to digital and testing for it. In increased adoption of digital learning, acceleration in adoption of cloud, testing application to the cloud, and adoption of software as a service. Increased leverage of crowdsourced testing, so which means even those who work from home can actually test for companies that can leverage them as a crowd tester. Or if you are an organization, you can use crowd for testing. Increased need for open source software testing because open source is becoming more popular. Increased acceptance of remote working and distributed agile. Increased need for data privacy and security, risk and compliance testing and audits. And increased leverage of artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotics in the testing process. So that's where we are. I'm sorry for taking 10 more minutes, Shruti. We can take some questions.
Yeah, sure, Renu. Uh, Thank you for your time, and the speech was really motivational, educative. So yeah, we are looking forward to have some more sessions with you. So yeah, here we welcome the questioners. So if anyone have any concerns or any questions, you can just post it in the chat panel. So I mean, in the question and answer panel, we'll pick it up. So Renu, here is one question I have from my end. So yeah, we were talking about RPA and all. So just wanted to know what is the future of software testing, because in coming days, what we are looking for, Autobots is conquering everything, right? So the boot testers are coming into picture. So as in terms of human intervention, how will that go on in future, or what is the scope for us and future for that?
Yeah, so the prediction is that as the automation increases, the higher intelligence jobs will grow and the mundane work will come down because mundane work will be with the robots. So the tester's job is to test the robotic logic itself, feed the data and the algorithms for logic for robots, and to test the robot itself. And another thing is that humans will more and more be there in areas where robots can't show their empathy and emotions. But of late, robots also are being built with more emotions, or the gestures, etc. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of almost half a century of software professionals, each time we thought that there will be no role for bankers because banks will all become IT, but all the professions are growing only, right? So one type of work replaces another type of work. So we basically do smarter work. That is what the future is. So not get clung on, stick on to what you are currently doing, and always be ready to take on new challenge. Learn the new areas for you to be remaining relevant. So to answer your question, with robotics, testers have to be more intelligence to test the robots, program the robots, rather than only doing mundane testing.
Okay, thank you for that, Renu. So here we have one more question. which states that most companies claim they have moved to agile. I'm coming from a Scrum background, currently leading a team in a service-based organization. Feel it's more like a agile than pure agile. So, what's your say on this?
What does it feel like?
If they
You
feel like
said,
currently, yeah, it's a
uh-huh.
service-based organization. Feel like it's more like a agile than pure agile.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, Vagile, you said.
Yes,
And what does the Vagile mean? Vigil, is it? Or what is Vagile?
yeah, that's
Probably
what they.
I didn't, I didn't understand that fully. Probably what the person means is that it doesn't seem agile in true sense, and it is not the real agile. So, um, even my answer would be agile has different flavors, right? So there are Scrum, there is Kanban, Scrumban. There are different ways of practicing agile, safe methods, and other methods. So I think the whole idea of agile is faster to the market, and if as long as the method that you're using is contributing to faster time to market, faster release, that's good enough. I didn't understand what agile means, but yeah, I mean, probably you're meaning that it's not a true agile.
It
Um,
meant like waterfall and agile. It's a blend of both waterfall
okay,
and agile.
agile. Okay,
Yeah.
waterfall agile. Okay, okay, okay. Well, I like that method as well. Let me tell you, because agile basically propagates that there are no requirements form and requirements keep evolving. So don't have a freeze on requirement. Whereas waterfall says that don't move from one stage to other unless there is a clear sign off from one phase. So requirements have to be tight, defined. Now the thing is, the world we are in has evolving requirements, but at the same time, very evolving requirement and having no freeze on requirement basically makes it very difficult to have any view of what we are developing. So agile to me basically means a mix of waterfall and agile. And in each phase of waterfall, probably you are running various sprints. Probably that works fine for that organization. But if there is a scope for improvement, figure it out where it is not serving the purpose and fix it.
Thank you for that, Renu. We have one more question which states that we are saying AI and ML will be in demand. So, what exactly testing is required in AI and ML? Basically, what is the role of tester in AI and ML?
Okay. Um, so there are a lot of testers who do test data management, right? And here I mention about testing of the logic, right? Testing of the AI/ML algorithms, providing the history data and the logic for the machine to or for the chatbot or voice bot to revert with answers. So in my view, the role of tester in AI/ML programs, number one, you can't be only a black box tester. You need to know some scripting language. In most of the AI/ML applications are using Python, and I understand it is pretty simple. So if people are looking for coping with the new world or being in data science or AI/ML, it is good to do a Python refresher. But I'm not saying that testing is about white box, but I'm recommending it for at least understanding one scripting language, because more and more testing is getting technical with the agile sprint based testing, right? So coming to the question that what kind of testing I can expect in AI/ML programs, you will test logic, and you will test the data itself being fed to answer that logic. So those are the things you need to do in terms of the black box part of it. And these days, testers are the ones we call as test analysts or business analysts or business testers. They write customer journeys or user stories. So basically, every software has to be testable, and doing the user stories is the main job of, okay, what I expect the bot to do, and the tester actually. So many times testers are also playing business analyst role, and that is what we call as business testers. They basically create scenarios that what I expect bot to do and how I can fail it where it is likely to fail. So analyzing the test scenarios.
Thank you, Renu, for your response. We have a couple of questions unanswered, but yeah, since we have short of time, we'll pass the questions to you so that you can get back to us on that, and we'll forward that to the attendees. So, and
It's been a pleasure, Shruti. Thank you.
thank you, Renu. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. It was
Thank
really
you all. Bye bye.
motivating. Yeah, thank you.
And great luck. Great luck with WWT. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Attendees, you
Bye.
can just post your questions, and all your questions will be passed on to Renu, and we'll get the answers for that. And if you have any other concerns or any other discussions to be done, you can participate in the Slack channel. We'll get back to you with the answers for your questions. Thank you all.
See you all. Bye bye.
Thank you, Renu. Bye bye.